My name is Nancy Adams, and I am a social science faculty member here at MCC. I teach primarily psychology classes, and I coordinate the on-campus counseling program that we have here. So that's my day job, where I get the big money for. My vocation, quite frankly, outside of my day job is I'm an artist. I have been making assemblages for about 20 years or so. I definitely dabbled in them in childhood. When I was very young, my favorite indoor activities were building shadow boxes, playing with Barbies, creating stories around the dolls, that sort of thing. So I was always fascinated with spaces, making things out of objects. And when I was in college, I studied art history quite a bit, got a minor degree in that. And so what is here in the gallery is sort of a marriage of those two passions, right? A childhood passion and an understanding of art. My material, the medium itself is called assemblages. You have painters and sculptors and ceramicists, and you have assemblage artists. So that is the name. It used to be sort of confused with sculpture. People would say, "Are you a sculptor?" I'm not. Sculpture tends to be a process of removal, right? And this is much more additive. I don't really create new shapes. I create vignettes based on things that already exist. I use materials for purposes other than what they were perhaps originally intended to do or convey. And sometimes I still use them as the dolls that they are, but just add my own perspective on them. I also, in the show, there are a number of photographs that I've taken. I don't consider myself a professional photographer by any means, but the photographs that are in here sort of reflect that same sort of perspective, or I suppose joy in finding unusual things or putting things together in new ways. I'm a huge fan of irony, and when it occurs naturally, I just think it's fabulous. So I try to capture that. And I think what's sort of important, or what, it wasn't intentional, my use of found objects and things, but the truth is it's a form of recycling, if you will, not just purposes, but materials. Quite frankly, a number of the pieces in here are constructed of things that were either headed for the dumpster or were literally removed from, with permission, removed from dumpsters. And I realized, we won't talk about individual pieces, except, for instance, when I look at this piece, which is about Jean Seberg, the piece that portrays the armor when she starred as St. Joan, was taken with permission from the metal dumpster at Alley Automotive. The silo over there is a tailpipe of something that he let me grab. So it has turned out to be a bit of recycling. And honestly, when I was thinking about putting up this show, I sort of looked at my work in a new way and realized that there were themes. Not intentional, but when I experience moments of grief, I make a piece, and I have many moments of grief. Right? When I feel strongly about a social situation or event, I will make a piece, and I have many behind me that are social commentary. So it became clear to me that I could make this show theme-based, and what ties it together is that art has been the vehicle through which I've explored all these themes. I will talk about the process. I actually have thought a bit about it, and it seems to happen rather in both directions, right? Where either I will see a piece, and then the idea for a finished piece will come to me. There's I don't know where it is. There's a piece that has to do with people moving across the prairie, right? And I really hadn't given that time in history any thought, except I was in a Goodwill, which is one of my favorite places to go. And I saw a little old hot dog or bun machine thing that they used to make. It was a little like hot dog steamer thing that looked exactly like, to me, a carriage or a wagon. And I saw that and I thought, well, I think I'm going to get that and do a piece on pioneers, and so it went from there. And sometimes with grief or the social commentary things, I'll know what it is that moved me or what it is I've lost, and then I will look for things that resonate, that reflect that. I have, and I think I'm going to mention this just because it has been important to me. I've made these things, like I've said, for a very long time. Sometimes a person will commission a piece that is doll-based, for a wedding gift for someone, and so I'll do rather a goofy depiction of an actual couple, surround them with things that reflect their shared passions, and that's their wedding gift or centerpiece or what have you. But and sometimes I do them just for my own purposes. But in the last year, I've entered and gotten into, based on encouragement from friends, juried shows, like juried art shows and galleries and things. And I entered them and I didn't expect to get in, and I did get in, and I've gotten really positive feedback on some things. And then that's been a little bit stunning because, again, I would do them regardless. As I said, I studied art history in college. I'm still struggling with, I think, the idea of fine art not being, traditionally trained or classically educated or what have you. I mean, I work with dolls and throwaway bits, but they are pretty clever, and they are quite well received, so that's gratifying.
So you always have your eyes open for new materials? Or?
Yes, I do. And that's a bit of it's not a challenge because there's always things that I could see and use. The challenge becomes one of sort of storage. I don't want to hoard things, and sometimes I do cull through my inventory, which for as diverse as it is quite organized. But I will cull through my inventory and say, if you haven't used this in 4 years, right, or is this that special that you can't find another, I will take a load back to Goodwill where I got them in the first place. But there are some pieces that are just simply so unique that I know I'm holding on to this because I'll never find another plastic wheelchair, so I'm just holding on to that one. A number of the pieces in here actually do belong to other people, so they will be returned to them. And my house has many around. My house looks a little naked now. And honestly, a number of them will go either in plastic bins with the name of them if I choose that I want to, if I think I haven't lived with it long enough or I'm not done with it. And sometimes I will photograph them and then disassemble them. They've been assembled, I can take them apart now if I've said what I wanted to say. And so sort of all different things with them. I don't have a website. I don't necessarily see the need for that. I'm just going to continue to make them for myself and to enter shows here and there. I think I might just loop back to encouraging people, myself included, to continue to think broadly about the arts. Right? That it's not just painting, it's not just sculpture. There's the culinary arts, right? And the medium is food. There's fiber arts and the medium is textiles. There's martial arts and the medium is the body. So I think that even if you can't draw more than a stick figure, that doesn't mean you can't make art that is has impact.